In the previous part we have seen that the witch that put the curse on Cedric is none other than our main female lead Aaliyah, and now we see Aaliyah has to focus on the problem which is in front of her. Then after Aaliyah, Cedric, and Caleb, 3 of them go to the Grand Duke Palace. Aaliyah asks why the palace is frozen. Aaliyah thought that if she's able to stay by Caleb's side, then she will be very happy for Caleb. However, Aaliyah is only the culprit. Yeah, of course, it happened before she was sent here, but it still doesn't change the fact that she is Aaliyah. So how could she tell all this to Caleb? That she wants to stay with him knowing all of this, that deception. So she must get rid of the affection towards him. She was affected by Caleb so much because she was pretending Caleb is young. Then Caleb wakes up and he puts his hand towards India and says, let's go. Earlier, Aaliyah was depressed, and she was thinking even though she retired, Caleb, who had to mature early, Caleb's attitude just now made her relieved. India thinks that it's not that she won't consider Caleb's proposal. She really does have fun with Caleb, not only because he's similar to you but because she has grown closer to Kali himself. If she ever manages to recover her memories, then she would be able to stop both Cedric and her death until you won't even turn dark, meaning the world won't be in danger. Then Cedric says to Caleb, it's going to be difficult. Caleb replied, why? Densely faced, of course, it would be easier to resolve the vessels if they do that. But what about Aaliyah's opinion? They have to take Aaliyah's opinion about their marriage. Aaliyah said that she also likes being with him, but she never actually said that. Then Cedric says, let's move to the palace first. I heard, sorry, we need to discuss a bit more about the requirements of our contract marriage. Cedric agrees with that, but I don't think that she could act like nothing's wrong. However, Caleb says that Aaliyah won't need to come back here. She doesn't need to leave the palace just because Aaliyah and Cedric get a divorce. She can live with Caleb after she's divorced. Aaliyah's shocked by hearing this. Caleb says that you're gonna need an identity anyways, right? So as the Archduke, he will become Aaliyah's official guardian. Then Aaliyah can continue to live in the palace as a ward of the Grand Duke. Aaliyah is turned. She feels like something changed about Caleb. If that happens, she will be happy. Cedric and Caleb will be happy too. Then Aaliyah realizes that she tried her best not to get involved with them at first. But now she knows that she is the fairy. She has to help them. It doesn't matter for her if this world is from a book. For her, this has already become her reality. Then Cedric says, however, you should know that this won't be an ordinary marriage. We are going to do a contract marriage. The time period will be until my curse is lifted. And once that happens, Aaliyah will come back here. Caleb is shocked. He says that it should be a contract marriage. I heard that he would be hurt if they told him that they would break up beforehand. Then in the story, in the end, Aaliyah would be thrown into the dungeon of the imperial family and die from an unknown cause if it was his disease, or maybe she will get killed by someone who had a deep heart towards her. It doesn't matter if she runs away. She knows that she ends up dying anyways. In this situation, there is only one way for Aaliyah to survive. She decides that after marrying Cedric, keep an eye out of the curse, break Cedric's curse, and then go somewhere where no one can find her and live happily by herself. But she knows that she can't do anything. How her one good thing is that Aaliyah always appeared in the black cloth and no one knows the fairy's identity, so that's why Caleb couldn't recognize them. She thought of running away, but the story has already changed a lot from the original story, so if Caleb were to find out Aaliyah was the fairy, someone in the black costume scolds, no way. Aaliyah asks her that you were the fairy. The fairy says there was enough time for Aaliyah to break the curse. How dare she trick them? Die. Aaliyah thinks that so if she organizes the situation right now, Aaliyah is the only reason for everything's problem, which means she can break Cedric's curse and undo all these problems. But right now, she can't do all those things. That's impossible for her in this situation because she doesn't have a single memory of earlier. She only remembers her name and her age. She doesn't know a single thing about magic. Then in the next scene, Cedric surprisingly says, what? Means he asks, is that true? Are you really going to marry my brother? Aaliyah replied, yes, I am going to become a sister-in-law and go to the imperial palace with you. Caleb replies, that's great. Aaliyah looks at Cedric's face. He looks quite nervous. It's understandable, though. Even she was shocked. That's why Cedric is shocked, why he is nervous. Then Cedric says, Aaliyah, the other way you mean. That's Aaliyah indirectly proposing to him. You should marry me. Very sudden proposal goes to Cedric was shocked, and he was literally surprised rather than to be happy. On the next day, they reach the palace, and Aaliyah is shocked by looking at the palace. This palace is so shiny, she was literally stunned. She did come in here excited, but now that she thinks about it, she really doesn't know anything about this place. She was surprised by the palace's luxuriousness and even doubtful whether she is able to do all these things. Cedric says that they have to have a vessel meeting. Aaliyah was shocked and asked, a vessel meeting? Then Cedric says, yes, Caleb has returned to the palace and they also need to discuss their marriage. Cedric says that if she doesn't have any other plans for today, then she may go and rest in her room, and her maid will guide her to her room if she waits here. Aaliyah, surprised by her maid. Then Edwin Polinoa comes. Cedric gets up to leave this conversation, and he says that he will go on his way since she has to attend the meeting right now. And he said earlier that if she needs anything, she has to feel free to say. Then Caleb also said that he wanted to attend the vessel meeting. Really, in the original story, Caleb waits until Cedric goes to sleep, but he has never attended a vessel meeting. But in this scene, Caleb wants to attend the meeting, and he says to Cedric that take me to the meeting in the forest. Caleb was allowed to be just Caleb, but not anymore. Caleb's earlier saved and took care of him, who was on the verge of dying, and even agreed to his unreasonable requests. So this time he can't avoid it forever. He also wants to protect her earlier as long as she stays in the palace. Cedric thinks, how did that woman give that much courage to Caleb in just a few days? Caleb is also going with Cedric, and he says to Aaliyah that he will be right back. Aaliyah thinks, will Caleb be okay? She really wants to be with him, but she can't go in the meeting room, so Cedric's there, so it's probably going to be okay. Then someone says, excuse me. Aaliyah was shocked by hearing this. Then she said, here's hello, Miss Aaliyah, I am Olivia, and I will be serving you from today onwards. Aaliyah replied, it's a pleasure to meet you. It's nice to meet you too, Olivia, so I really do have my own maid earlier. Olivia wants Aaliyah to speak comfortably with her, but Elias says that it is the socket that she finds more comfortable in a way. And then she asks Olivia if the vessel meeting has already started or not. Oliver replied that the meeting has already started, and she hears that it also not took so long ago India was trace about Caleb. Then in the meeting room we see that in the meeting Marquise Renaud, the Babylon of Indigentia's Grand Duchy, plants his hands on the table and says that this place is the only Indigency's Grand Duchy in the present empire. This woman doesn't even know where Cedric, the next head of the family, comes from. This absolutely ridiculous. Then Cedric and really says that be careful with your words, Caleb, our Grand Duke is here and you dare mention me as a successor. Also that woman is person I fell in love with. I suggest you to choose the words wisely. Marquise was shocked by hearing this. The reason he held this meeting today was to inform everyone that he is getting married, but not to ask for their opinion. You are so angry, and even though he is planning to get married as soon as possible, he says everyone should keep this in mind. Then people sitting in the meeting were thinking light. He is the one who turned the whole palace into the ice when Caleb is missing, and even they don't know what he will do if the opposing. If we have to, we can just get rid of lowlife. They were thinking since there are many cases where a person remarriage for family reason after losing their wife, it won't affect the Grand Duke family either. All the person were thinking like that. Then suddenly Marquise has become so angry and he was thought like, damn it, how did he manage to find someone to marry so suddenly? He was confused that why is Cedric is going to marry so suddenly like this, and he was thwarting like, if this continues then my plan will be completely rude. Marquise Renaud has planned that he is the only older brother of the previous Indigentia. He was like an uncle to Cedric and Caleb after the assassination case, although Marquise failed to become the second person in power. Cedric ending of receiving his curse, and the Renal started to think of his new plan. First of all is to prevent Cedric from getting married. The ruler that said the curse can be transferred if anyone stay close to him, and even there was no evidence. People slowly started to distance themselves around Caleb. After all that things, he would falsely accuse Caleb and get rid of him, and as the vessel with the most power he would influence the public opinion through the vessel below him. These was all possible because his daughter Gerald was Caleb's etiquette teacher. Means in this scene we get to know that the etiquette teacher who said to Caleb that he have to take a strict diet, she was nothing but the daughter of Renaud. And after that, under the leadership of Renaud, Cedric will be crowned the Grand Duke. Then, before said weaker verses, and if falls into eternal sleep, Renaud will trick Cedric into marrying his daughter, saying that it is in order to break his curse, which will make Renaud Babylon the perfect leader. But suddenly the appearance of women has won everything. Renaud is thinking that why that woman is not afraid that curse will move to her. Did she know about this rumor? If this thing goes in this way and ends up really going to the Sanctuary of Knowledge and finds out Caleb's past, it will really be the end for Renaud. Anyways, the woman hasn't adjusted to Nobel culture yet, so until the wedding she will be taking etiquette classes with Caleb. Renaud is shocked by hearing this, and he says, do you think Jerry graduated from a prestigious university to teach that low life? How can she take classes with the indigenous Archduke? Then Caleb shouts and says, did you say just low life? Marquise Babylon, I recommended that you choose your words carefully. This woman is my sister-in-law and will become Indigentia's Grand Duchess. Renaud was literally stunted, and he thought, what the hell is going on? He has never been like this before, so why is he so intimidating right now? Renault is thinking about Caleb, whose behavior is fully changing, and Caleb says that this woman must be really special to you. Then Renault thought, right, I want to be able to block the situation, and the bastards who are taking my bribes would be too dumps to do anything, so I will use this chance to change it. First of all, I need to kick that woman out of the palace. Then, I suddenly see changes, and Aaliyah surprisingly says that this bed is so soft. Then, the next day, Aaliyah wakes up and is literally shocked by looking at her own face in the mirror. How can she look this pretty after waking up? Even though she had a late night snack last night, why isn't her face swelling? Is it because she did really expensive skincare last night? She thinks that it is weird to say, but her eyes look like crafted gems. Then Olivia knocks on the door and asks Aaliyah, isn't she awake? Then she enters the room, and the area was shocked by looking at the breakfast because the breakfast was looking so luxurious. Then Olivia says to Aaliyah, please call me once you have finished your meal. Cedric is waiting for you. Then Olive asks her, do you have a hairstyle or dress that you would prefer? Aaliyah replies, I think it will be okay for me to wear anything. I don't need any help. I can get ready on my own. Then Olivia says, what do you mean, Miss Aaliyah? You are going to meet your husband. Please leave everything to me. Aaliyah literally looks excited. Then Olivia enters Cedric's room and says, my lord, I have brought Miss Aaliyah. When Aaliyah enters the room, Cedric says, I am sorry for calling you so early in the morning. Did you sleep well? When earlier, he replied, yeah, the bed was so big and comfortable. When I came to my senses, I realized I was rolling around when sleeping. When it's night to hear that the room was to your liking. Please wait a bit longer. Then suddenly, Cedric looked at the area, and he was surprised that she was looking so pretty and so beautiful. He just took a pause while looking at her, and then he said, until everything is sorted out in the meantime, you can rest on the sofa. Aaliyah noticed that when Cedric looked at her, he took a pause. At that time, Edwin Polonova introduced me inside by saying, my name is Admin Polonova, serving as a chief aide. It's a pleasure to meet you, Miss Aaliyah. Aaliyah replied, nice to meet you, Edwin. Then Cedric scolded him and said, no, I will talk to her about it. With a snap of his finger, he creates a barrier so that no one can hear their conversation. Then Cedric asks her if she has regained her memory, and even if he asks if she is talking about her lost memories, Aaliyah claims that she doesn't remember anything about them. Aaliyah thoughts that she told everyone that her memories are lost for now, but she can't do anything about it. Even if she looks suspicious since it's true that she can't remember any other family, friends, or other people, and Cedric and Aaliyah both agreed to keep it a secret from other people in the palace just in case. She was wondering what words Cedric might think about her since it will be easier to choose the date of the wedding if they communicate they made a contract yesterday only. Then Elena replied that Cedric wrote this much in one day. She was really shocked. Then Cedric says that he put the contract period for 3 years for now, but he is planning to make it so the time period of the contract will increase if his curse isn't broken in those 3 years. Aaliyah claims that it's a good idea, and she likes it. Then Cedric says, sir, that he will give her 3 billion gold every month, so she has to feel free to use it whenever and wherever she wants. But she has to remember to record her spending. And if Aaliyah needs more money, she has to ask Cedric, and the amount can be adjusted as well. Then Aaliyah got those papers, and she used to read in those papers that how many zeros are there in the amount below. But when she saw that it's a 3 billion, her voice literally cracked because she was totally surprised. Then she thinks that's more than enough to buy her own house in her previous life. Then she asks Cedric why he is giving her that much money. Isn't it because she keeps her mouth shut? Then Cedric replies that it's also included that she has to keep her mouth shut, and he said more specifically that it's a settlement for restrictions of freedom. Then he asks her to read the 6 lines of the second page. It's written that she must accompany by either Cedric or Caleb when going outside of the palace ground. She won't be able to go outside without Caleb and Cedric. It means she is restricted in the house if she wants to go outside. She has to ask either Caleb or Cedric about it. Cedric says that knights will be assigned to in order to ensure her safety, and all the servants around Aaliyah will be filled with his encourage. And those people will become his eyes and ears. Then Aaliyah thinks that Cedric is trying to say that he will always be watching her every move. Aaliyah is shocked that Cedric is putting restrictions on her, but she claims that she agrees with the restrictions and she is okay with the same. Cedric asks if she really feels okay with it. Then Aaliyah says that since she is not in the state where she can tell Cedric any information about her, she can't refuse it if he is doing it so he can trust her. She thinks that it's normal for him to be suspicious of Aaliyah considering the situation, and even she knows that a shield will be used for people LM. Cedric also asks her if there is anything else Aaliyah would like to include, and it will be considered if it's reasonable. Aaliyah thinks that she doesn't know what else to add because he made it so well. She was shocked at how Cedric wrote everything in just one day. According to the contract, she will be given 3 billion gold if Cedric breaks, and she will buy a house far away and live comfortably alone. She was thinking all this and planning to go alone after Cedric's curse will be finished. Then she remembers about Caleb and how they spent time together. Then she says that she would like to add more things in the contract, which says that even after divorce, she wants to be able to visit the palace to see Caleb from time to time because she feels like her lost memories are coming back slowly whenever she is with Caleb. She thinks it might be because Caleb looks like someone that she used to know. Then Cedric agrees with the same, and he says that he will ask for Caleb's opinion and put it in one of the conditions. She thanks Cedric. Cedric will arrange the meeting later. Aaliyah enters her room and she clenches her face and thinks that it wasn't supposed to go like that. Her original plan was to take care of everything here, then leave quietly to her own house. What's wrong with her? She was thinking. She decides that she can continue to see Caleb. Then Olivia comes to the room and asks if there's something wrong with Aaliyah. Aaliyah says nothing, then she thinks that it's selfish, but won't it be alright if she came to see him once in a while? Or to attack him just a little so no one notices. It's very rarely she accepted the condition restriction for her freedom. Then Edwin asks Cedric if Aaliyah is so beautiful. He has never seen someone's eyes shine as bright as hers. There is something called jewel eyes where only a small number of fairies are born. He thinks Aaliyah might be the one. Then Edwin asks if it does mean Aaliyah is a fairy. Cedric asks where Edwin has ever seen a pure-blooded fairy. She's probably of mixed blood. Not only are her eyes beautiful, but her long, luscious hair seems to suit her perfectly as well. And don't forget about her pleasant voice. Cedric doesn't know Aaliyah's true identity, but he knows that she is a very bright person. And he also knows that she is a completely different person to him. Aaliyah was shocked of 3 billion. Only her voice cracked because she was surprised. Then Edwin was just remembering, did Cedric smile? Edwin asks her, did Cedric smile, didn't he? Admin is continuously asking him. He was like, oh my, I can't remember the last time he is so satisfied. Shut up, I will be on my way to the launch of payment. I made with Caleb organization of the documents I left on my desk. And Cedric says to Edwin that that's a punishment for saying nonsense, and Cedric walks away. Cedric thinks that the contract has been signed, and they just need to put the wedding plan into action. Now everything seems to be going smoothly, but what was that floral scent coming from that woman? I must have imagined it. I have already lost my ability to smell because of the curse. There is no way I can smell. In the next scene, Caleb requests to have dinner, but at that time while having dinner, Cedric says that Aaliyah earlier requested to be able to see Caleb regularly after his curse has been broken, and they get a divorce. Caleb was shocked by hearing this. Then he thought that she said she wanted to keep seeing him after the divorce. Does that mean she wants to be with him? Or maybe she didn't reply to him in the forest because it was too sudden. Caleb just needs to do something more, then he thinks she will stay here even after a divorce. Caleb's reply to Cedric is, that's all, I don't mind. Then Cedric says, let's discuss what we should do after the contract ends. Now that I think about it, does your etiquette class resume tomorrow with Aaliyah, Caleb? Caleb replied, yeah, I need to get back on track. Now I am going to do even better since Aaliyah's going to be there. Cedric thought, why doesn't Caleb look happy about it? I thought he would be over the moon since he will be taking classes with Aaliyah, whom he loves dearly. He was talking about Aaliyah with a big smile on his face earlier. This is complicated. It would be nice if he talked more. Then Aaliyah enters the room, and she was so happy by looking at the day with the sunlight coming on the palace. She says, I am going on a walk. One day like this, at first I thought I was not fit for the Grand Duke Palace, but it's a relief that everyone here is so kind. She was thinking it's only been a day since she came here and she hasn't met the vessels in questions. She asks, what kind of people are they? Later, Aaliyah says, how they speaks this, unbelievable. Aaliyah thinks, oh my god, I hope that doesn't happen. Well, it probably won't happen. They are thinking like that. I really need to recall her lost memories now. Discussing that, I am telling you it's true. It's been such a long time since I last you can search have a mail together that it sounds like they are talking about something unpleasant, so I better go back. It's still uncomfortable. They don't seem like they get along. Then why are they always so awkward? They were siblings. Exactly. They talk about Miss Aaliyah for a while then went back to eating quietly. It's hard to watch them like that. Aaliyah was shocked by hearing that Caleb and Cedric being awkward, the two who were shown as brothers who got along in the original story. But now that I think about it, earlier today during lunch, they should be eating together, meal by right now. Why do you eat your meal separately, Miss Aaliyah? Olivia asks her. Aaliyah replies earlier that the biggest reason was so that she could get closer to Olivia because she heard that they always have their meals together. She didn't want to disturb that precious bonding time. Aaliyah thinks, what happened? Is there something I don't know about? What do you think, guys? What will happen next? Will Aaliyah stay with Caleb after divorce? Let's see this on another part. By the way, don't forget to like and subscribe our channel. Thank you for watching.